What's up, beautiful people? My name is Derek Standifer, and today I have the high honor, the privilege, and the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Bruce Strouble. Dr. Strouble, how you doing, good sir?
I'm good, brother. How you doing? I'm feeling great right now, man. Nothing to complain about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I thought it was amazing to have you on to start off Black History Month, man. I think it's appropriate and it aligns with your mission and your passion. So thank you for agreeing to do the interview, and I'm ready to get this thing started, good sir.
Yes, sir. I'm with it. Let's go.
I just made the video public. So for everybody who's watching, if you have any comments for Dr. Strouble, any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer any comments and questions that you may have. Feel free to leave them in the comment section, and we'll make sure that we address your comments and or questions. So here on Solving Sundays, we juxtapose solving the Rubik's Cube to solving the twists and turns of life. And the first step is to believe, to set your goals and your dreams and your aspirations. So Dr. Strouble, can you tell the good folks who are watching today, what is it that you do, good sir?
Man, I'm a jack of many trades. I am currently the sustainability coordinator for the city of Tallahassee. I teach history and political science courses at Florida A&M University, but I'm also an activist. I'm a member of several community-based organizations working towards advancing environmental justice and sustainability and quality of life for African-American people and people in general.
Hey, so when I speak about the quality of livelihood here in Tallahassee, I speak about the activism and the people who are in the ground roots putting in the work. And when I came to FAMU, I saw it in my professors like you, Dr. Strouble, seeing you on the front lines. And it's that lead by example that got the students motivated to go out there and take action against the injustices that's going on. So I want to thank you for taking on that charge and carrying the torch.
I'm just glad to be able to, I think sometimes we don't recognize that we're in situations where we get pushed to the front. And FAMU kind of put me in that situation, particularly in our community. So I'm always thankful for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure the students that you have impacted are thankful for that as well, good sir. So, now the second step of solving the Rubik's Cube, the second step of solving life is to solve your cross. Solving your cross is to identify your why. You wear many hats, but I think main thing, we can identify you as an activist. So what got you started in this, and what's the reason? Why are you fighting this fight that you're fighting, Dr. Strouble?
Man, I just got started. It was pretty much my upbringing, the way I was raised, the way my parents and my family kind of cultured me and put everything in context is we were seeing, whenever we would see a situation of injustice, they pointed it out to me and they said, they tied it back to something that happened in our history. And they wanted me to understand the context for which African Americans and other people of color face disparities in our country. And then I was kind of taught from a young age to say, hey, either you're going to be part of the problem or you're going to be part of the solution. So growing up, I was always thinking, what am I going to do? When's it going to be my chance to get out there and address it? And then, coming here to FAMU and just being around some of the people I came up around, whether it was Andrew Gillum or Ramon Alexander or Philip Agnew, just the people who were in the circle who were on campus when I was here. And there's a lot more people than just those names. That's just some people I'm throwing out, right? Everyone was stepping up, trying to find their way that they wanted to bring about change or make a difference in our community and the community at large. So I just keep up with my peers.
And the beauty in the statement that you made, a lot of people talk about the problems. We have barbershop conversations about the problems all the time, but few people are willing to, put their money where their mouth is and join the ranks and join the fight and be on the front lines and really taking up time out of their day and energy and resources to fight the fight. And like I said, man, and we learn to utilize this skill at a young age here at FAMU. We learn to be activists as a student. So it naturally becomes a part of our career and our life mission to continue the work that we're fighting for, man. So I want to thank you for leading that cause, good sir.
Yeah, you thank me, and it's 100 people I would have to thank also, because it's kind of like it's a train, and we all just, we standing on the shoulders of giants at times, right? Mm-hmm. So it's people who came before us who paved the way for us to even be able to take the risk and the chances that we do today. So
yes, sir.
I don't do it on my own, and I don't expect anybody who comes after me to think they have to do it on their own.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Miss Gian Jones. She said, "Powerful men you just named from FAMU." Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. And
I saw I just saw something on Facebook. It said, "Who would be on your Mount Rushmore for the graduates of your school?" So we got a tough choice to make to put up. Man, you
Multiple
know,
Rushmores if we thinking about doing one for FAMU. You know, I could just pick a couple of names. There's a lot of people who came out of that institution. Some doing work in the popular limelight in the mainstream, and other people doing stuff behind the scenes. We don't even hear their names. So they out there doing it right now as we speak. So always
yes, sir.
my alma mater. And you know, not just FAMU. I know it's people everywhere. It's people just in the communities that I've been in also. That are committed. Some of the activists I've had the chance to work with across the country, particularly on environmental justice work, and then even here in Tallahassee, just some of the people I'm associated with. And I don't want to just do name dropping the whole time, but it's a lot of people who inspire me, who kind of push me to want to just, what can I do? Individual steps to kind of make the world a better place for my children, your children, and our grandchildren when they get here and all that stuff. Just thinking down the line.
Yeah, man. The be invested in the community in which you live in is a beautiful thing. And that's a beautiful transition to step number 3 of solving the Rubik's Cube and of solving life. And step number 3 of solving both is to fill in your corners. Now, filling in your corners is to immerse yourself in an environment that allows you to prosper and to become a better version of yourself. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what kind of people do you associate with, and what kind of environment do you immerse yourself in that allow you to become Dr. Bruce Strouble and the activist that you are now, good sir?
Oh man, I think I said something like this on my social media the other day. I was like, anybody who's my friend, if you associate with me, just be prepared. I'm gonna push you on certain issues that I'm passionate about because I can't help it. Like I'm gonna talk about being politically engaged. I'm gonna talk about us trying to live better and be more sustainable. And I'm gonna push you to do cooperative economics because these are the things I believe are our way forward. So I associate with people who are okay with me being pushed, or they're pushing me to do the same thing. So anybody who's out there trying to get it, I'm trying to learn from you, hoping we can have intellectual exchanges. And then I also like to be around people who they may be an expert on something that I know or something I don't know, so that we can learn from each other. And I think that's what it's all about. They like, steel sharpens steel. So anybody who's out there trying to achieve excellence in their craft, I want to see it. I want to be a part of it. I want to learn more about it.
And it's truth to those words, but every time I see you posting on social media, it's always an intellectual conversation. It's always studying the political candidates. I know we just had our political season. Man, you're on a board where y'all was, okay, we need to know the platforms of everybody who's running. So we got to have literate voters. We can't have just be blindly voting for people. We need to know the platforms and the causes that they support. And just to be a part of an environment that hold our leaders accountable, as the voter from the voter standpoint, man. So I really appreciate that effort from you and leading that charge because it was a post about the wealth of Mansa Musa. Adrian made a post about the wealth of Mansa Musa. These are conversations that we need to have. We need to know this stuff, man. It's Black History Month, and I tell my students all the time, I tell my kids all the time that this is a superpower. So we need to know the history of the people that come before us, and I'm so glad for you for spreading that message, Ken.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful, right? That we're coming to a place now where we could publicly have, because I think a lot of people now know who Mansa Musa is, but now we could have objective critiques of his leadership, and we can use that to inform how we assess how are we performing as leaders in the future. Because right away on the surface, it's like this is the wealthiest Black man or the wealthiest man who ever lived on the planet, possibly, right? And then people are saying, well, what happened to the wealth? What was his administrative abilities like? How did they get that money? Who were the people working to actually produce his wealth? This is like a next level of studying African history, not just for pure celebration, but for analysis, and making a science out of it so we could get better from knowing our history. And I think that is, that's a profound step that we're taking collectively. And I'm excited every time I see discussions like that.
Man, the principle of Sankofa, to know what we've been and know where we're going. I just saw Antebellum today. It was my first time seeing this movie, Antebellum, and this kind of brought all this stuff full circle for me. But to know that leadership is how the company and the organization or the country sustains after you gone. So it's good to have these conversations. How was his leadership? How did he pass on his wealth? How did he pass on his leadership styles that allowed for a decline in this country that was the wealthiest, and for him to be the wealthiest man that ever lived? So it's amazing that we are able to analyze the pros and the cons of our historical figures. Yeah, man, that's dope.
I like it.
So the fourth step of solving the Rubik's Cube, the fourth step of solving life is to take it to the next level. And we've already been building on these blocks or whatnot, but taking it to the next level means to continue to grow, to continue to get better. I know we live in 2021. We live in the age of the smartphone. We have unlimited knowledge at the tip of our fingertips, man. So, what are some ways that you use to become a better version of yourself? I know as a scholar and as an academic, you make it a mission to always know more. You said you like to continue to learn from people because you know the more you know, the more you know you need to know. So, how do you better yourself in that knowledge area?
I think my key focus right now is building strong networks, right? I think the more people that you can network with who are fulfilling your cause and you can offer something back to them, you build stronger network ties. And this allows you to propel yourself further in whatever you're pursuing. I think that, at least in my perspective of life at this point, it's it's not an individual thing. This is a team sport that we're engaged in. And as we're looking to move forward, you have to find ways to better organize, and that allows you to better operate your team, right? So, again, your team is your family, it's your neighborhood, it's your community, it's your entire society, and we have to find ways to be able to work together better, and work to better our situations. And I think that's a challenge, right? I think about when Marcus Garvey said the biggest problem facing the African American community that he saw was organization. He said it was a lack of organization, that we just didn't have that well-refined organization with institutions in place to address our issues. And I'm always looking to leave an organization better than I found it when I get there. So that's kind of my drive right now, is how do I make this organization better so it could serve me and my people in a better way.
Oh man, it's so crazy you said that. I was speaking with somebody the other day about John Henry Clark. He had this quote. Well, he made a statement. African people, they didn't sign their names on their paintings and they didn't take ownership and claims of things because they understood that I'm a part of a bigger picture. You know, they were we people and not me people. And they said that, we were poisoned by this me mentality of mine and the selfishness and not understand that I am a part of the bigger picture. And it's an amazing thing for you to have this group mentality. It's about the us. It's about the unity of the people and not the individuality of the single person in the group. So thank you for sharing that wisdom, good sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Trust me, that was something I had to learn. It didn't come to me naturally. It was a time I couldn't see that. And then I think just going through life and looking at the scene, kind of getting a bird's eye view of what's going on, putting it in context with our history and where we are now, it was kind of like, we got to get better organized. We got to see the bigger picture.
So the fifth and the final step of solving the Rubik's Cube, the fifth and the final step of solving life is to see the bigger picture. And seeing the bigger picture simply means to keep your commitment to your commitments. In this journey called life, we're going to experience the highest of highs and we're going to experience the lowest of lows. But on this journey, how do you keep your commitment to your commitments and stay focused until you accomplish your goals and your dreams and your aspirations? Good stuff.
I think this ties in everything we talked about, right? First of all, I'm using history to see, what has been done, what were the different strategies people try, and then I'm coming up with my own. I have a personal life plan that I've kind of put together, a personal activist plan, or a personal, where it's like, how do I want to impact my community and impact the world over time? I set goals and then I'm just trying to achieve them. But ultimately, it really comes back down to, I can't do everything on my own. So I have to be tied in to multiple people, multiple things. So I can be like, if you're working on this system I can believe in, I can support that. This person could support me when I'm doing this. And that's just how I build my network. So it's really just it's really planning and self-organization and then trying to use that to spread it to the other organizations that I'm in. And it's a challenge. But it gives you something to work on throughout your life, a place where you can always be trying to improve. So I guess it's what the Rubik's Cube is, just getting your timing down. Like, I know the way to do this now. Until you get it, it's routine.
I think one of the things about this thing called organization, it's a beautiful thing when you're able to put into systems, place people into systems where their strengths are accentuated. You got person in area A that's amazing at area A. We need to keep them in area A, and we need to learn how to, make this a well-oiled machine and within this group that we have and to practice these group economic principles. We definitely need it. Terrence Barber, he made a post. It said, "Black president, black vice president. Now we need black owned businesses to support black owned businesses, and we need black folks to. I think it was take claims, state claims in Africa, but definitely like reconnecting to their lineage. A lot of people in our community we so divisive, even with the fact that John Henry Clark say they didn't drop off Americans, they didn't drop off Haitians or Indians or Jamaicans, they dropped off Africans, and we need to reclaim our heritage and reclaim what it is that we come from, because what we come from is it's crazy how they got it flipped up. That they thinking that Africa is this poor country and Africa depends on aid from the world, when it's really the other way around, man. You see it from this bird's eye view. Africa provides the world with so many resources and so many riches, and it's crazy how we're able to be tricked into viewing it from a different lens.
You said a word right there, brother. Like, people see things backwards sometimes, and that's intentional. We know that. But ultimately, again, what Terrence is saying, I agree with him. This is not new. Black people have been saying this for quite some time. I think one of the things is we get started and then we get disrupted, but we just keep pushing along, I think. And I think that's one of the beauties of what we've been able to accomplish. And I think we just have to stay with it. We all do our part, and we all know that we're working towards making this a better world for future generations and future generations of Black people. When we be specific, we want to make sure that our people have the right to exist on this planet with dignity. Hey, Jody, that's one of my
activists. Jody, man, she brags about being able to hold her own in a debate with you. She
that was my favorite students. I used to go to class waiting for. I would be like, let me get ready because I know Jody gonna be in there with her question.
She gonna bring it. So
trying to in front of my class.
and as an educator, man, I'm sure you see the benefits when you see the work that your students are doing, and when you see them bringing, when you're excited for your students to come up to class because you already know what they're finna bring. When the student and the educator are able to engage in dialogue, intellectual dialogue, that's how you kind of bring the fire out in the other students. It kind of brings their confidence levels up. So I greatly appreciate people like Jody. We got Miss Madeline, an amazing supporter of all community endeavors. Africa will remain rich if other countries will stop looting it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes back to what Garvey said, right? That, you could say, why do these people keep looting me? But at what point do you get to a point where you could stop people from looting, right? So that's that's an organizational requirement. And I believe that is in the future of that continent and in the different countries there.
Ms. Rachel said facts. Yeah. So while we have a person of your stature on, we got to make sure we take full advantage. Are there any lasting remarks? We have officially solved our Rubik's Cube. So are there any lasting remarks that you would like to leave the people who are watching? I know you host history lectures on Facebook Live. Where do we find you at? What do you want to leave us with, good sir, Dr. Strouble?
Okay, so let me answer that in reverse. You can find me. I'm here on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. It's Professor Strouble on Twitter. Find me on LinkedIn, and also just like I said, find me on Facebook, Bruce Strouble. I take friend requests. I keep my number down so that it's not over the threshold. And I'm always looking to build and connect with people who are looking to move forward. Other than that, I think what I want to leave everybody with is just that, we are approaching a critical situation in the United States where in the next 20 to 30 years, we are expecting major impacts from climate change. And in that same time period, the African-American collective wealth is expected to hit zero, right? If anybody wrote, it's called the Road to Zero. It's a report that came out a couple of years ago looking at the economic conditions of African-American and their residual net wealth, right? Residual net assets after debt, and it's dwindling, it's decreasing, expected to be at zero around 2045. The road to zero. And at the same time, this is when we're supposed to be seeing maximum impacts from climate change if there's not dramatic measures put in place. So this is stuff we need to be organizing around, everybody, right? This is what needs to be as we form our organizations, as you're starting new businesses. Let's have that in the back of our minds that we all have to work together to make sure our people are prepared and that we survive this with dignity. All right.
Yes, sir. Y'all, we need a little, to quote the famous philosopher, Miss Queen Latifah, we need a little unity. We need a little organization. Exactly. So, Dr. Strouble, man, it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to know you, good sir. It's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to have crossed paths with you. at FAMU. Thank you for your service. Yeah. And a lot of people are impacted by the work that you're doing. For those of y'all who are watching, y'all make sure y'all follow Dr. Strouble and check out the work that he's doing. Um, y'all be great like the lakes. Be blessed like a sneeze. I will see y'all next Sunday. Dr. Strouble, if you can stay on, we can have a little powwow right quick.
Yes,
Miss
sir.
Evan and joined us. We
Peace.
got Miss Madeline. What strategies before we end, I think it's just only right that we address the question in the room. So, what strategies would you suggest for the next 5 years for African American or the globally Black folk?
All right. Right now, I'm best ready to speak to African American issues, but ultimately, we need to just start forming unilateral our organizations that cross and connect together. So I have organization. My boy Chris right here has an organization. I know we need to start finding ways to umbrella and find ways that we work together across lines. We can't afford to work in silos because all our issues are connected because they're systemic issues. So we need to be able to support each other and find ways to collaborate. Even when we disagree, there has to be something that we agree on somewhere, and that's where we find ways to work together. So that's the general strategy, is that we find ways to bring our organizations to work together. I'm not, Ebony, you taught me this. How are you going to say I'm brilliant when you was teaching me this?
Everybody a beast. Everybody a beast. And it's so crazy that I see this a lot. This is one thing I notice a lot amongst Black people in America is that everybody starts an organization instead of just latching onto the organization that's already started. We got a lot of pop-up organizations. They got the same mission. They got the same vision. Like, what, we need to merge them together. Let's marry together, collaborate, and bring strength in numbers, and not everybody have all these divided organizations. They got the same mission.
Exactly. So, and when we start bringing those organizations together and putting all those brilliant minds together, that's when we build institutions. And institutions last. They last beyond just that particular mission because they become integral parts woven into the fabric of our culture and our society. So, yeah, we got to start building our institutions to solve our own problems.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to be here with us today. I know some of y'all getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. Some of y'all getting ready to just enjoy y'all Sunday escapades. But we greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching with us today. Again, y'all be great like the lakes, be blessed like a sneeze, and I will see y'all next Sunday, good people.
Peace, y'all.